find something a little more suited for today's theme here. This feels less chill. Let's see my favorite one. There he is. All right. There's Boris. How's it going, Boris? Yeah, I wanted to get up. I've got a lot of family stuff to do today, and I have a lot of other stuff I'm working on. So I wanted to get on, do some, prepping for the course, getting stuff organized. We have a bunch of stuff that we worked on yesterday, but I wanted to just get more of it finished, more of it kind of worked out and straightened up and stuff. So, let me flip this over so you guys can see what we're working on here. I've got so this will be, take off the 101. Do I like it more like that? Yeah, we'll leave it like this. Save that. So I've got a few of the things open right now that we're going to be working on. This is going to be a different topic over here, and this will be compliance lab server. Don't need these. We'll probably do some other things that are security related in there. Oh, you watched the recording? Nice. Yeah. I think yesterday was just me kind of straightening up and getting stuff ready. Over on YouTube side, Xshunya out of RK. How's it going, guys? We're just, Sunday mornings are normally just straight labs, but I wanted to catch up and work on the course some more. I wanted to kind of lay out and organize my thoughts around what we're doing. A lot of this stuff will be the same, so it'll be Linux Security Engineering Unit 1, announcements. We'll have our first class meeting. We do have an announcement the first class week, so I'm going to make sure that I put it in here, and that is that's super annoying that I can't indent this. Huh. That stays one column, but it's just, why is this bullets and numbering not allowing me to indent? Anyways, all right. If we had any assessments or schedules, we would go here. So yeah, there is a thing, March 29th. There is no meeting. Unit 2 will be April 5th. It's because I'm going to be out of town, so there's no meeting on March 29th. Ah, motherfucker. I hate how this thing, so I don't know if any of you guys have ever used PowerPoint, but if you've got a PowerPoint behind like this, and then you go to use your mouse over the front of another one, it'll just be like, no, bro, he doesn't want to see his mouse. And you'll be like, let me see the effing mouse. And you have to shake it for you have to shake it like a dry martini to get the damn thing to show back up. And sometimes it never shows back up, guys. Sometimes it just hides forever. Insert a text box there and you can move. Yeah, I probably should do that. Let's look at the Beowulf stuff with the admin course. No, forget if I have lessons specifically on the Beowulf. No. It's funny, Werewolf is does come from the same people that did Beowulf. Werewolf is a adaptation of that, I guess. It became that eventually. So, but no, there's nothing like that. I don't. So My problem is like this. Let me show you the servers. Let me show you guys the capacity of the system. To give you guys, like, to give everybody access to the werewolf, right? So the werewolf server acts in his own little network, right? And I could, well, Beowulf is what it came from. So you're not wrong, Boris. It's just you're talking about the parent and not the, and it's a WULF, but also you're talking about his parent, right? Like Beowulf was the first original type of cluster, and then they changed it over to werewolf. But what I wanted to show you guys is this little werewolf cluster here has to be in charge. He has to be in charge of his network, his VLAN, whatever. And I was thinking about this. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago in one of the meetings where we were just kind of hanging out down in Discord. I could carve. I have the ability to network these down and carve up a whole bunch of different VLANs, right? I could do all the VLAN stuff. The problem is I would severely limit capacity within the system for other people. And then the focus of the course would be on running Werewolf. Whereas, like, the first Linux course, I wanted the focus to be on administering Linux, right? Not everybody's going to have, so for you guys, not everybody is going to have a Werewolf cluster. Not everybody's going to be doing high-performance compute. But all of you should be, if you're hanging out with us any, at a command line like this. Every single one of you guys is going to be in some kind of manner or fashion in a command line like this. Let me go check something real quick. I gotta go see. I keep getting this error message of this, and I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, so, yeah, I knew that. Hold on. So his root disk is pretty full. So what we might want to do on this guy is let's check what's using all the disk. It's in slash root. What's going on in slash root? Huh. That's interesting. And when were these? Oh, look at that. That's a dead letter queue all the way back to there. All right, well. I literally don't care. I will. You guys gotta stop me sometime. I don't care. Oh yeah, it's gonna take a while to wipe that. Yeah, 14 gigs, but that's not a very big file system because that's not a file system that does anything. All right, now it's that much used. I have no idea, like, what the dead letter. I mean, I saw what those messages were. They looked like they were messages that had been being written into there for the last 5 years or so, 4 or 5 years. I want to see if they're being written in real time, but I mean, 14 gigs should not be enough to send me 446 alerts. So we'll just wipe it, and then hopefully we never see those alerts again. All right, so this is what it was doing. That is a InfluxDB connection, and it looks like, oh, so it's Telegraph on this box. Oh, okay, well, I had put Telegraph here. Well, you know, just for now, we'll stop Telegraph on this, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't really, big scheme of things, it doesn't matter that much. But yeah, but to answer that question about Werewolf and doing it, the whole course would have to be about Werewolf. So I kind of chose not to. All right. So in the course next week, we'll review the syllabus. The syllabus looks like this for people that haven't seen it. We'll talk about what we're doing and what the course is going to look like, and we'll kind of run through it. Look kind of like this. Linux Systems Engineering for the enterprise, and then, same kind of thing. What is the course doing? Expose the concepts of controls, their implementations, and how they fit into overall security posture. So you'll learn about how we secure things, what authority and force are understood and used within like the context of security and securing a tool or whatever. And you'll practice securely deploying, building, integrating, and monitoring Linux systems. So that's the course, right? Standard security documentation and reporting will be practiced throughout because that will prepare you for the industry. So we were writing this up yesterday for people that were around. The course is a little bit shorter, so I moved the contact hours down. We'll probably have, in 10 weeks, about 40 theory hours. That'll be broken down into the 10 weeks. We'll probably have about 20 hours of meeting time, 2 hours each week or whatever. And then you'd go study the rest of that time. So theory is getting in there and digging in and studying. And then you would spend probably about 3 hours a week. So that would be about, if we had a 10-week course, this would be about 10 hours a week of work, right? That's kind of what this breaks down to. It's a 10-week course, and you've got, that much time. Although it's going to be 11 weeks because I'm going to miss the second week. Like, that's what the message was just about that we'll have in there. Anyways, and then here's our major instructional areas. These come directly kind of from the outline that I had done over here, but these are the things that you want to learn. These are the course objectives, like the things you're going to be able to do when the course is over, right? So I'm not going to read all those to you guys, but that's kind of the thing that we're going for right there, right? All right. Okay. Come down here a little bit. We updated. It's the same. Actually, you know what? We need to. You don't need these anymore, and that'll still be the same. But I did pull it off of here. Actually, we don't need the 15 gig hard drive either. And then Prolog Lab Access to Rocky 9.4. Good. All right. We updated the drawing. The drawing is now going to show the right user you need, the MC Hammer user. Oh, Boris, you like the Big Book of Labs? Yeah. The goal of that was to find people, like when I wrote that book, which I think is about a year and a half old now when we first released it. That book is just there to give you more context around the labs, send you off. And I mean, at the end of the day, right, you're studying stuff on your own, right? But it's just telling you more about, like, again, I think the section people like the most when I hear about it is the digging deeper section. Because, like, I mean, obviously we can just go all do tasks, right? Like, I could just sit here and open up this terminal. And we've done this before a lot, where we'll just sit here and do tasks, and people will learn, right? But I think for some of you guys, yeah, like, a lot of us learn by doing something and then getting in there and thinking about what we did. A lot of people in labs, they will just put their head down. And I'm very guilty of this, guys. In a classroom full of like 30 people, I want to be the first one done. I don't know what my thing is. I just want to race and be done. And I don't learn a lot like that. But when I pick my head up after and go back and look through what I did, it really helps me to like solidify what I learned. And people always think I pick stuff up fast, but it's more that I blow through things fast because I just follow the instructions. And then when I go back through, that's when I kind of absorb a lot of the knowledge. So, yeah, the book was designed for, because our labs, you can just push next in our labs and it'll finish, right? You can just hit the little button and the lab will be done. But we want, like, you can go back and kind of read and absorb this stuff more. Anyways, that's how I learned. So, all right. This course is designed to promote learner-centered activities. Yeah, so you guys that are doing this course will work together. Let me pull that Discord up, by the way. So for people that have not been in our Discord, Discord's free. We don't charge you nothing for Discord. The courses are free. They're up here. There's a writer's room on Saturdays. That is a working session, guys. This is a working group of people that are trying to make the Linux admin course better for everybody, right? They're making the They're doing a write-up. They're building a book. If anybody needs that book, it's right here. It's free. Oh, there's Ranger's off his bed. That book's right here, and it's completely free. Doesn't cost you nothing. I'll link this to you guys. This is just free, and it's all the pieces of the Linux admin course that we're going to be going through. It's got links in it, like we could go to Unit 1, like the worksheet. It's got the link from when I originally, talked on YouTube about it, and then it's got the major areas, and it's got the lab in here. I think they've got the lab. Yeah, their lab is even longer than the original lab because they kept adding stuff to it. But these are people that have been through the course, right? So they have all this stuff for you guys to work on. Yeah, Shadow, you're welcome to hang out. This is what we do around here, and they put this all together. But again, just going and doing this stuff, I mean, you can go do this stuff anywhere. You can go just get on the internet and do this. We're going to be doing this in a group, right? We're going to, for people that want to work on this and sit there and kind of chew the fat, as it were, and do Unit 1 with a group. Like some people were calling them cohorts. It's almost like a little college class, if you will, but we're not a college, right? We're just a little Linux group. I mean, I've been a college professor for 16 years, but all the course is going to be in here. So everything we did, and I emphasize this, Treasure's kind of running a lot of this, but I emphasize, I want this to be free for you guys, right? Like, you guys can go do all of this stuff for free. You can go do all the lab work for free, right? That's the goal. All right, so anyways, that's that. That's what the Prolog book is. The meetings start next Saturday. So next Saturday, it would be in your time. If you look in your time, this is my time. So this is Pacific time right now, even though I'm Mountain Standard Time. But DPR, you asked, I'm wondering if I can participate in both of them. You can. I'm not going to take attendance, you guys. You guys can show up and do whatever. I'm just going to tell you, if you want to finish the Linux sysadmin course, that's probably about 8 hours a week of work. And then near the end, that's probably even more because that project kind of gets big. And then this one is probably going to be, like we were just saying, about 10 hours a week of work. So you'd have to be committing to about 18 hours a week of work to get through them both. But no, could you do them and just work through them at your own pace? Absolutely. Yeah, you can participate in both of them. I'm not going to take attendance. They are the same day, though. So I'll meet with you guys here for an hour and then show you guys where everything is and then spin you guys off. And then I'll come down here and I'll meet with these guys. These meetings will be, again, probably a little bit longer because we're going to be doing a lot of stuff in here. This is going to be a more, if you know the military methodology of crawl, walk, run, these are going to be much past crawl, probably into walk and run. As far as we're not going to be there's a lot more hand holding up here because I know we're all beginners up here, but down here I'm not assuming anybody's a beginner, if that makes sense. So yeah, you're welcome to go to both though. Yeah, that's not like a threat or anything. I'm not threatening people that it's going to be hard. I'm just saying you will change better if there's actual work involved, right? Like I can have a gym membership, but if I just go to the gym and sit on the rower and go, I'm not going to do any rowing today, I'm just going to watch the news up there, that wouldn't do anything for me, right? You got to actually do something for 30 or 40 minutes on the rower, right? Or in the weights, that kind of stuff. So it's the same kind of idea. I'm gonna push you guys a little bit in some of those. Class will engage 40 to 60 learners. We were up to 208 last time. I hope we get higher than that. But I mean, then Discord. It was funny. Discord reset that group. I don't know why it did it. I don't know what happened, but it reset it all. Hey Colcus, how's it going? We're going through stuff, and I'm kind of furthering the build of the security course. So this is where I was at here. Security engineering, March 29th. There's no meeting. Unit 2 will be April 5th. Let me go make sure those dates are right real quick. Hold on. 29th, no meeting. April 5th will be Unit 2. Yes. Okay. I should probably go change that in the other one too. The one that I'm going to be talking out of the other one. Let me pull that up real quick here. Here's the sysadmin course, Unit 1. We'll pull up its Week 1 PowerPoint, and we'll say, let's go over here. Just copy it. Because copying it's better than writing it over. Might have to pick a new song here. Let's grab this down just a little bit. Okay, save it, get it out of the way. Hold on, I gotta change the song. The song's bugging me. Too staccato for the... There we go. Alright. We'll review the syllabus, so we'll go over the syllabus. That's what we were just kind of doing there. And then the first week we'll have some topics before next Saturday meeting. Yep. And then I typically populate these with whatever the topics are. So the discussion posts are going to be... I don't want to say... I don't want to be... I've got a lesson plan. We didn't really use the lesson plan in the last group, so I don't know if we'll necessarily do it this one either, but the lesson plans tend to be what objectives I'm doing. So, and then what they tie back to as far as the course objectives, right? I might skip that one. I might not use this again. This is just like an additional thing to help keep, like if I had different instructors, I would be making these and having the instructors do that, but let's go ahead and just save that. We'll save it so we have it. And then the thing that will be changing is the worksheet, right? So Prolog Security Engineering Unit 1 worksheet. Fill out the sheet as you progress through the lab and discussions. Turn in the sheet to email at my email. So this is going to change. Originally, guys, I think I told you this. When I first ran the Linux Systems Admin course, I wanted to... It's actually kind of funny. I wanted to grade everything because I thought there was going to be like 20 people. And then what happened was we had like 200 and something people, and I had so many worksheets and stuff that I couldn't have graded them if I wanted to. Just so you guys know, and I had my email on here, but one of my emails. So what we've done instead is now we say hold your worksheets until the end to turn them in as a final submission packet. So when you're all done with everything, then we will, you can turn those kind of things in. All right. Then I'm going to have the discussion questions, and the discussion questions will still look like this, but I'm going to write those here in a second. And then there's going to be some new definitions and terminology that I'm going to want to get out of here. The main ones, so if we come over here to my page here, this is going to be some of it here. And then also on this page here, the Excalidraw, I was writing up some of the things. So some definitions are going to be, so the questions I'm going to ask are going to be around what is security. So you guys are probably familiar with the CIA triad, right? But then regulatory compliance. I swear that looks weird. Is that like indented? It was indented. Oh gosh. All right, there we go. Regulatory compliance, and then within this, that's weird. That's kind of weird. Under regulatory compliance, we'll say HIPAA. What is that? PCI DSS, and actually this one's going to be separate because it's going to be industry standards. So, you know, when we're talking about these things, what are these different things? And then security frameworks, and that'll be like CIS, STIG. And then, but maybe even before these things, just under definitions, terminology, I might be asking things like, oh, maybe, no, those will be in the discussion posts. So, okay. These are typically things I want you to go look up further. All right, useful notes, lab an assignment. There is going to be a Unit 1 assignment. Let me go grab that worksheet. What's that worksheet called? Oh, I have it right here. Oh, the lab. Sorry. Oh, what is the lab going to be called? Unit 1. Not going to be lab essentials. It's going to be won't be lab essentials. It'll be standards. Right. Standards and compliance. There won't be a project like this, but there will be a security engineering project. Final. Future weeks, and then topics will be system, so Linux security. Let's say Linux STIG compliance. You can do and these are the ones that I know well and can let's say grade easier. Linux Rocky 9 STIG compliance MariaDB or okay. Research design. You will complete a STIG report and for one or all of the types of one or all of the systems, and that will look, so in the useful tools will be I'm going to say STIG document library. That'll be one. Another useful link is always Excalidraw. It'd be on STIGviewer 2.18. And an SCC tool. Type. Okay. And then let's go SCC. Oh, OpenSCAP. There we go. All right. So we're getting that. I need to update these. I know what questions I kind of want to go with, but I haven't. I gotta kind of. Thanks for the follow, I don't know how to say that. Eluditor. Hopefully this stuff's useful. I like what the CC said there. That's what I kind of thought it looked like in my head. Hopefully this stuff's useful too. We're just hanging out. I'm working on. That's weird. Why is my? Let me go check my Twitch stuff real quick. All right, there we go. Now I can see everything. Yeah, hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We're just working on putting together the security engineering course for next week. I'm pulling a bunch of stuff in and stuff that we're going to look at. I'll probably be pulling up some of this stuff and using it to show kind of in my discussions here. And yeah, that's where we're at right now. So, it's slow going, but this is what we do around here. Actually, I'm gonna pull up this. I'm gonna pull up this other thing. So I know I'm all over the place, but this is kind of how I work. I tell you guys all the time, like if you watched me work, you'd be like, how the hell does this madman get anything done, right? Hey, Bottleneck, how's it going? Thanks for the Prime. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We're just not working too hard right now, but I mean, I'm working a little hard, but you guys aren't working too hard. Just hanging out and chilling. Normally Sunday mornings I do all labs, but this is kind of like a lab. What is the relationship between two is going to inform three in that what are the types of controls and how do they relate to the above question? Now, for you guys here, as you're getting spoilers if you're hanging out with me right now. So, like, when you think about it, like, maybe not a lot of you wanted to be cops growing up, but in the security world, if you're stopping people from doing things, you are dealing with authority, will, and force, right? So I'm going to show you guys a picture real quick here. This comes from the Security Plus cert, but these are the types of categories of controls, and these are the control types, right? These are the things that happen. So where I'm going with this, and if I could pull these up so you guys could see both of these at the same time. What I'm saying here is, like, does everybody here understand what authority is? And I'm not saying that in some, like, platitude sitting on top of a mountain with my legs crossed type way. What I'm saying is like, if I told Bottleneck, I'm going to use you as an example, Bottleneck. If I told Bottleneck, don't you dare post again. And if he doesn't post again, he has respected my authority. But if he wills to do something, right, if he chooses to post again, then now there's an option. if he doesn't respect my authority and does whatever he wills, right? Then there's two options. Either either that post he makes is going to happen on my Twitch stream, or I am going to force him not to do it. And I can force him with controls, right? I've already said, like as a manager, like what used to be authoritative things, right? Where's the mountaintop image? I'm missing it. Yeah, yeah, like you sitting on top of the mountain with your legs crossed. Yeah. But where I'm going is now we've got a clash of wills. I've told him not to do something, and now I have the option of having a control in place. Like I could put a technical control, like a timeout on Bottleneck. I've never timed somebody out on stream. I have banned people on the stream, but I've never timed anybody out. I could use a technical control to prevent him from doing something. That would be a technical preventative control that would stop him from posting. I wouldn't do that to him, but it's an example. If he respects my authority, then I don't have to use force. But let me ask you something. If somebody's trying to actively get into your systems, do your managerial, like, deterrent or detective or corrective or compensated or directive, like you were told not to do something, is somebody that's trying to actively get in your system gonna follow any of your policies or procedures? No, of course. I mean, it's silly to even ask, isn't it? I mean, isn't that silly to even bring up? Like if you were actively breaking into something and you saw a thing on the wall that said, do not break into this. This is something you're not supposed to break into. You'd be like, I know that. I don't care. Does that kind of make sense? So the goal of security in general is either to assert authority and have people do what they're supposed to do, which is like internal and security training and these kind of things, or it is to put in place controls that force compliance. Some people call them guardrails. Some people call them protecting people from themselves. In the Army, we used to talk about how a locked door just keeps an honest person honest. Like there wasn't a locked door in the barracks that I couldn't put my boot through, right? I could kick a door open. I still could kick a door open. But that only keeps an honest person honest, or you have to have a reason to go through that door, right? Does that kind of, hopefully that makes sense. But we'll talk about this in the group, so this won't be so abstract. I'm not trying to like sit on a mountaintop and float and achieve some kind of zen here. This is just something that, like, I imagine people that go do criminal studies deal with this a lot. But you're kind of dealing with criminal behavior, and not really necessarily criminal behavior, but stopping unwanted behavior deals with authority, will, and force, right? These things have to be there. And maybe I'll go crack open like a criminal science book and see if there's some other things. But yeah, Bottleneck posted and I didn't stop him. Right? No, I'm just kidding. I was kidding. I was messing with you, Bottleneck. But the point is, you were just the one that was up there last. But the idea, yeah, like if you respect my authority, then I can just tell you to do something, and that's all we ever need. But since there is a will and people have differing wills, and this goes back to this other thing. Some of you guys, we'll talk about this in the course, but the diamond DIAMOND intrusion model. This is a great model. If you guys have never seen this before, the diamond intrusion model is the way that people tend to talk about cybersecurity. And let me see if I can just find the actual post. It should be right up here, diamond intrusion model. I want to find their actual... where's their actual original post on it? The guys who posted it. You know what? This is go if you want. I'll just go to Scholar. Google Scholar should have it. Yeah, here it is. Here's the actual, people who originally posted. Here's the actual threat, Intel Academy. So here's the thing. I'll link it to you guys. This is more academic, right? Guys, things are always, there's the academic, and then we flow over into the practical. Engineers deal with sitting on top of, like, knowing a lot of things, but also being able to apply a lot of things, right? We're not quite scientists. We're not quite like journeymen down in there. We kind of sit atop that. But anyways, if you come down here and if you want some good reading, go read some people's write-ups of this, because this is a little bit dry, but this is a really good way to look at how things attack. And this is how things work right here. There's an adversary and a victim, and there's infrastructure versus capability. And they call this axis right here the socioeconomic axis, and they call this right here the this is called the techno axis. These things have been kind of fleshed out since the original writing, but this is the original paper that wrote about it. And this is a way that a lot of people actually write up, especially in the government, how incidents occur. And if you go and you learn about this model, you'll find a lot of reports that come out from cybersecurity agencies and government agencies follow the diamond intrusion model. So you will better understand the report, because everything will be against the framework of this. Does that kind of make sense? This is how we report to each other. Hey, somebody got popped. Oh, do you have a report on what happened? Oh, yeah, here it is. And it will be in this format. So I actually have this in a couple of talks, too, that I do. But the adversary versus the victim, and then we use like Star Wars to describe the infrastructure versus the capabilities of the people. And then you come down here and you break down what each of these things are, right? All right, so anyways, we don't have to go into that too much right now, but where I'm going with that is what are the types of controls and how do they relate to the above question, right? And the answer to that, or the thing I want people to think about that, is right back here under this PDF. If you're looking at, a physical category, a physical preventative control is like a gate and is like a front door and a man trap on a building. So can I defeat that physical preventive control? Yeah, I drive a truck through it. That's the oldest way to get through things like that. Or people drive up with a truck, put a chain on a door, and just rip a door out of thing. That actually happens. There was when I was in the Army, so I was in the Army from 99 to 2003. For people that don't know this, I'm going to move this up here a little bit. I was in the Army from 99 to 2003. And back then, that was U.S. Army, and back then, they used to use our Social Security numbers for our IDs. So if you ever saw like my old Army IDs, which I still have laying around, in some kind of memory thing that my wife keeps. My wife keeps all the, she does all the scrapbooking and all that stuff, but I'm sure that they have it, and it's my actual Social Security number on there, right? And where I'm going with that is somewhere in 2002. It's been like early 2002. There was a group out here in Phoenix. Now, I was up in Colorado Springs. I was in the Army. There's a group down here in Phoenix that was doing some type of work for the government, and they had everybody's Social Security number in the Army in a computer on a server that was under somebody's desk. And the reason this matters is I got a letter in the mail that said, hey, your Social Security number's been compromised. Your military ID's been compromised. Your Social Security number's been compromised. And I'm like, okay, well, by the way, that happened a few months ago for everybody in the U.S., so it really doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, secret. Yeah, that's why the sky is blue, because God loves the infantry. Yes, that's why the sky is blue. But anyways, no, that's neither here nor there. The thing where I'm going is what they did. This is how they compromised that company. They drove a truck through the front door, got out of their truck, walked right over to that one server that was sitting under somebody's desk, pulled it out, and drove off with it. It was obviously some type of inside job, because they knew exactly where to go and they knew all that kind of stuff. But it was just interesting to me that, and I'm not trying to talk about, obviously there's all kinds of other things that are problematic with reusing IDs like that. But what I'm saying is there was a physical preventative control in place that got blown over the top of by somebody with a truck. They just drove it right in through the front of the building. This was would have been like 2002 out here in Phoenix. And it was a big deal on the news, because it was like 18 million service numbers, but they were all just Social Security numbers, because that's what the government used to use. Yeah, so like when that thing came around a few months ago, there was a thing like this was before let's just separate out politics. This was before January 20th. So this was before the new president was in place. There was an alert that came out that everybody had been compromised for their Social Security numbers. I don't know if you guys heard this or saw this, but basically everybody in the U.S., like all the social security numbers have been compromised. But then, it's funny, a few months later you find out, well, that's not a big surprise since they're using like database technology from like 1950s. So I don't even know how the hell these guys are running that database, but that's neither here nor there. You guys can go look at that kind of stuff on your own. Where I'm going with that is, you can put all these other controls in place and categories of controls, but you need to understand what you're actually doing. It's the same thing like we were talking the other day. There's a physical type of control that is to put just a security camera up on a light pole. And it is a detective control. It helps you to suss out what happened later and figure out who robbed you. It is not a preventative control. It doesn't stop anything. It's not physically stopping anything. And you might say it's a deterrent, but a lot of people would argue, and I think that, case law kind of goes for this, where like it's not a deterrent either, because unless somebody notices it, it doesn't really deter anything in any way. And it also assumes that if they did notice it, they were deterred, but they were probably already there to do something anyways. So it's really just considered a detective control. So you've got these different types of controls, right? And we're going to learn about these in the course. That's going to be the first part of the security course. But I'm going to ask these questions. What are the security controls and how do they relate to the above question of authority, will, and force? And again, if you look at this, if I don't respect your authority, these two go right out the door. Literally, these two don't matter because they might as well be paper. Like, you ever seen football players run out on the field and they just run right through the paper? Well, that's what it is. If you shake your finger at me really hard, right? If this said, oh, I don't have it in there. Okay, well, we'll go to Rocky one. If this, instead of saying dev, said no, this is Scott's server, you can't do anything, but you were already on the server just looking at the banner message, and you were like, echo, I'm Cartman. I do what I want. Right? And if you did that, what's that thing actually going to do to stop you? It's not really like so my point in saying that, and it might sound like I'm kind of beating a dead horse there, but you've got to think about what you're actually doing in a system. And that all feeds into what we're going to start doing in the security course next week, which will be coming in here. And like I was filtering these yesterday for Pam, we were looking at all of them, but let's say that there's 397 out of 401. Oh, let's get rid of, how are there 401 of these? This is the Linux 9 one. Okay. RHEL 9. So, what are we trying to actually do? When we configure RHEL 9 to disable the Control-Alt-Delete del target by masking it, right? This is the fix test, actually fix it. This is a technical control in place to stop Control-Alt-Delete from being run on the system. Does it deter, like, let's go look at this. Does it prevent? Yes, it's a technical control that is going to prevent somebody from ever typing Control-Alt-Delete and rebooting our system because we've masked it, right? So it is a technical preventative control. Now, I want to ask you something. Does it deter people from doing it? No. Most of you would never even know I had set this on a system. You would just be sitting there mashing your hands doing a Control-Alt-Delete, unable to reboot the server, and you would just be scratching your head why it didn't work. It is not a deterrent control. Like, I'm not deterring anything. It's not detective. It's not logging anything. It's not corrective. It's not fixing anything. And it's not compensating for some other weakened control. So this is a technical preventative control that is going to stop a user from hitting Control-Alt-Delete on a system. Now, hold on. When you're filling these out, I just want you to know, you do not have to sit through your head and go, this is a upgrade to the supported version. This is must be to a vendor supported release. This is like a operational, and this would be an operational corrective control. You have to do this, right, to keep your system up to date. But what I'm saying is as you're filling these out for a system, you don't need to think through all this. Remember I was just saying earlier, there's like the technical side of things, I guess I threw it away, but there's the academic side of things, like the knowledge and all these things. And then there's the other side of it where it's kind of like oh, I'm applying it. This course, the security engineering course, is going to be designed to make you think as well. So it's going to be doing some of the academic stuff, but that academic stuff doesn't always, like, you don't have to do it all the time. Like, as far as, like, you don't have to literally, as you fill out what the state of your system is or what your corrective things are that you're doing, you don't necessarily have to in your head be running through all of those. But when we learn about it, it's a good time to learn how to do that, right? Because here's the thing: what will happen is eventually you're going to come to, there's going to be a conflict. There's going to be like an impasse between you and security, and security is going to say something like, you know, we need to have a policy. So we need to write a policy, which is then going to be a managerial directive. Some manager is going to direct, and then we need to make sure that everybody's reading about how they're not allowed to control alt delete on a system. And you're going to say, well, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, we probably need to do that. But by the way, I already have it technically, and there's already a technical preventative control stopping that. So that's a lower priority for me. That should be a lower priority for me. Like, yeah, we can teach people that they shouldn't be doing control alt delete, but we've also physically stopped them from ever doing it. So anyways, my point is there will come a time when you will have to argue about these things. And I wish I could say, oh, we never argue about any of this stuff. We all just agree, but I promise you don't. Because you're focused on operations. You're focused on building a Linux server that does what people want it to do, and what your customers, which are the developers and managers of these different teams, they're running their stuff. But the security team, they literally only think about security stuff. Let me show you guys something. This is actually going to be something I need to pull up in the course while we talk about this. Let me go to, I need to go grab this picture actually. I need this to really emphasize this point. So I'm going to pull it up during the discussion. We have in my, let me see. This is an old talk that I gave. Let's copy this out. I'm going to show you guys that here in a second. But I'm going to put this down. Let's duplicate slide. Let's just throw it in this slide because it'll be... Hopefully this is readable. Okay, here we go. All right. Let me pull this other one up and then we'll look at it. The one that I'm about to close down. All right. This is the original talk that I gave. I actually gave this talk to a group that I work with as like a lunchtime learning. And this comes from a guy, Joe Vest. I don't know his background at all, but this is one of the best things I've ever seen. Over here on the left, these four panels over here on the left, they are people doing a bunch of security things. And over here on the right is the black hat hacker that got into their system. Okay? And this right here, the security manager and compliance, and you're just reading off these rec 35.2, 35.2.2, 35.2.3. These things right here are exactly what we're doing over here. Look, it's just a different vulnerability ID and numbering, but it's the exact same thing right here. So what I'm trying to show you guys is we do not want to just be checking this quarter box off right here. We want to be picking our head up in this lab in this week when we do this. This will start. What I'm showing you guys is starting next week, right? The security engineering course. We do not want to just be this. Because this guy right here is becoming noise to the security manager who's responsible for this, who's just going to get his guys to check these off, and nobody's actually going to be stopping anything. So yeah, there's activities we have to do, right? And there's things that happen, but like, we need to also be doing things effectively. So actually, this is what I was saying about like the academic side of things. The PhDs over here: strengthen infrastructure controls to protect against malware by phishing and deploying risk of and the IT's like, what? This is, and this could also be PhD, just the academic versus the person who's actually in the trenches doing it, right? So, all right. I've given that talk before. You guys have seen that one. That's actually a cybersecurity incident response one, but which will not be part of our security engineering course. The one that we're doing this time is all about the build, like the build security and setup of the system. All right. So where am I at here? I am updating. Yeah, where are my teeth? How's it going? It's also warming up in Phoenix, so it's going to be in the 70s again. Ugh. I was hoping for like just a little more. God, we had 50. I think it was 50 2 days ago, and I think yesterday was like low 60s, and then now it's going to be back up in the 70s and 80s again. Ugh. But all right. Also, I don't know if Treasure's around, but if Treasure is around, one of the things I was thinking about as we were working on how to get this book right here, the book that we're building, or all the guys are building, how we were going to get it to work for each individual group, and I think I came up with a good solution. We'll leave the book as it is, like we'll keep the book one way, and then I'll have all the other pieces of data that I'll give out like in a sheet during the course. So all the discussions will be like set up for people in something else. So this will be basically like timeless. This won't change with each course. Where are my teeth? Tannis, how long are you going to be streaming for? I don't know. I typically get on for a couple hours on Sundays. I was going to do labs all day today, but then I decided I'd rather spend some more time on this because here's the thing. I have to go this afternoon, well, here in a little bit, I have to go to Tucson, which if any of you are in the Phoenix area, Tucson's about 2.5 hours away, and hang out with family for a little bit and then 2.5 hours back. So there's that's going to be kind of a time sink for today. And I have to write a couple reports still for security for a couple projects I'm working on. I'm moving tomorrow back to the NOAA project that I used to be on. And since I'm moving back to that project, NOAA, that's right. Yeah. it changed it over to the other NOAA. But I'm moving back to that project tomorrow full time. So I want to get some of this other stuff done. And when you say, well, Scott, so you're full time on that, does that mean you won't be doing the other projects? No, my company lets me work more than full time. So, yeah, wear my teeth. If you're traveling, try to be safe and stuff. But yeah, you can always hop on and watch later on YouTube side of things for sure. All right, let's keep working on this. I got to keep driving through. Where are we at here? What kind of controls do they? All right, so this was something else the guys kind of had to do. Let's go with what is security? So there's that, obviously. Let's do. It's another discussion around this week. If the first week is focused on these hardening things, and then we're talking mostly STIGs, but also like CIS benchmarks and this one might be good. Find a STIG or a compliance or a compliance requirement that you do not agree with. Oh, I gotta grab. Hold on, guys. This actually reminds me. I gotta grab something. I gotta grab something out of Discord, and I think it's in off topic. I think I posted in here the other day. Hold on. Because it was a joke, but it was also off. I might put in jokes. You guys will find out that our Discord is not all professional. Hold on, I might have put it in memes and jokes. This is gonna get worse. I need. There's this one thing. I need to grab it. It's a picture. I could grab it. I know where it is on my phone, but. Oh yeah, some of that's definitely not appropriate. What is this about benchmarks? That's pretty funny too. No, hold on. Where did I put it? It might be under general, because this was a general topic. This was pretty. One of the guys posted a thing, and I took this out of it. Oh no, I can't find it again. Well, here it is. Here it is. Specifications of requirements. This is really funny to me too. Let's copy the image. We're gonna go drop it in our presentation because I'm gonna need it in the presentation. Duplicate slide. We'll move where it is later. Oh shit! But look at this real quick, just so everybody can see it. It's a specification of requirements, and this is a tongue-in-cheek. This is a joke. And it says, in this document, several words. The way that things are written in a specification are very important, right? When something says must, it must be there. This guy was joking. Must not. So this is a joke, but it is, this would be technically reading requirements, documents. And this idea right here is this is just a straight engineering idea, and this idea transcends security. But security has to be very good at reading requirements as well, because there's requirements that are built into all of these standards, and I just wanted this to be there because this is absolutely 100% not the way you read things. If it says must, shall, required, you will do it, or it will not work, right? If it's recommended or some of these other ones, they're there. But anyways, I'm putting that in there. That'll be part of like a joke. That'll be humor, right? All right. So anyways, find a STIG or compliance requirement that you do not agree with. What is the STIG or compliance requirement trying to do? What type of control and what category and type of control is it? Can you defend why you think it is not necessary? All right, let's start here. This numbering needs to start over. Where is that? Set numbering value back to 1. Start loop list. What? Set value to 1. Start a new list. There we go. All right, so there's our 2 questions for next week. So people that are going to do that course, if you're, by the way, you might think, oh no, Scott's giving away all this stuff for next week. Sure. Like it's like, oh no, please don't go study ahead and learn all the stuff that I was going to talk about anyways. Oh no, please don't go do that. I am very okay with you guys just figuring stuff out without me, right? Because that's what a lot of times you're going to do as an engineer. A lot of this stuff in the course is just really just to guide you guys to the answers you're going to come up with anyways, right? You're going to do what you want to do here. I can only give you like my experience and my opinion on some of this stuff. So, YouTube, hi hat, yeah. Good afternoon. Do you think one can do a security course if you're unable to do the Discord? Yeah, I think YouTube, we'll figure that out. I think people would still be able to do it. I think you'd still be able to do the discussion questions. I think you'd still be able to work through the stuff. There will still be study groups. I know people have been planning. People did study groups last time, and they set them up, and people went and met and talked about the Linux course. So I think the security course will be the same way. Yeah, I think you could work through it for sure. I think people will be able to get that worked out and organized and stuff. If I get this organized enough, kind of the way that I want, then I will be recording. I will probably be recording them on Sunday mornings, so the day after, right? I just need to make sure that I'm organized enough with what I'm doing, and getting it the way that I want it to look. So, because I don't want to waste anybody's time when we're sitting there for 2 hours and we're working on stuff, and then we're going off and we're studying and reading this stuff and doing this stuff. I want this to be to the point, right? And I want, when you guys have discussions about it, for those to be discussions to the point, like, and when I say do you not agree with, yeah, there we go. Guys, there are stigs all over the place that I don't think are necessary. But I want them to be there. Like, I want those stigs. I want even the ones that I don't agree with or think I need to be there, right? There are some here. Let's go with what is one of them? Let's do kernel. Let's go look at, let's find one that I maybe don't think. Those are all fine. I don't have any problem against the audit stuff. No, I want to find, hold on. The ones where you're loading, those are all audit messages, audit things. This is one that I don't think is that necessary. All the USB ones. Let's do this USB. Because there's a tool out here called the USB guard, right? And so this one, and I'll get rid of kernel. Remove that filter. So these are all USB, right? And you must have logging for the USB guard daemon. So USB guard must be there, and then it must be auditing and sending Linux audit. So USB guard keeps people from plugging stuff into your physical machine. Well, do you think USB guard is necessary if your thing's virtual? Probably less. I mean, I guess you could connect the USB to a virtual machine, but you'd have to be admin to do that already. So now you already got other problems. So there's like layered controls here. And I might say, well, we are in all virtual machine environment. We are in a locked down data center with locked doors, and these are what I'm explaining, what I'm describing are compensating controls, right? These are these other things, these physical preventative controls that become a compensating control when compared with this one to stop people from plugging shit into my system. So I may make the argument that these aren't that important in the system. USB guard package must be enabled? Well, I don't agree, right? So anyways, my point is, but as all academic and all of these things, look, it needs to be turned on. It needs to only allow authorized devices. And then in this one, you have to have it turned on, and it can't be in the blacklist, I think. Right? So your argument here might be, I don't agree that we need to have, I don't agree with STIG. And by the way, I would want you to give me the STIG number. I don't agree with this STIG ID rel 09291010, right? I don't agree with that. It says that no USB mass storage should be able to be connected to my machines. That's fine. And this is what is the STIG compliance requirement trying to do? Protect your system from unauthorized USB mass storage devices. What category and type of control is it? It would be a preventative technical control to have that on. Why do you think it's not necessary? Because I have multiple physical preventative compensating controls. They become compensating controls when they protect for this one, of not being able to get in my data center without authorization, not being able to get in my rack without authorization. There's all these other controls in place. So I think that is extra, more than is needed, right? Anyway, so that's going to be part of your discussion to find, like, for you guys to look at. And you guys are going to find different ones, right? Some of you are going to look at one that I run into a lot. I do a lot with MariaDB. I'll show you here. This checklist, I think, is for MariaDB. Yes, yeah, there's 110. This one bugs me a lot. But it's a real, look. Let's go look for cert. So there's a bunch where you need to have PKI certificates to talk to a MariaDB server, right? Well, what if the architecture of the system that I'm on says, so look, we need CryptoFips enabled, and we need to have, this is just a cert, so this is a different thing, but I have to have OpenSSL, and I have to have an SSL library running on my machine. What if my machine's only communicating and only open on 127.0.0.1, and the application sits on this device like it's a Slurm database manager, and it sits on this device. The traffic never leaves the internet, never leaves the internal device. Do I still really have to be talking in PKI certificates to each other? A zero trust purist will tell you yes. A guy who understands how Linux works may tell you what? Like some of these right here, when you look at a machine, every one of these is listening out. But if I started like a MariaDB server and it was only connected to 127.0.0.1 here, it does not accept connections from outside of that machine. And I could say that is a reasonable level of security to allow us to bypass some of this other stuff, right? Now, is your information system security officer, your ISSO, going to go for that? Or are you going to have a fight with him? Well, that's... right? This is where I'm going, guys. This is why I was telling you, you guys are going to be dealing with the operational aspect of the system. And then you say, well, what's the problem with just doing it and making them happy? Well, because maybe we don't have PKI. Maybe we don't have a public key infrastructure set up, or it's just a hassle for us. Like if we have a company that's mature and has a PKI infrastructure, and we can just get a new key infrastructure every few months, so we never go past and expire, because an expired certificate's just going to ruin your night, ruin your weekend if that happens, right? You're going to have to go get that updated if you don't have a very mature organization. But yeah, if your organization's mature and you can automate a lot of this stuff, that's fine. But a lot of honestly, the one-off stovepiped like government secure systems that I work on aren't like that. So it's interesting. I just looked up some STIGs in the U.S. site, had a managerial control checkbox asking for consent. Yeah. So, again, this is, I tell you guys this stuff, like all this stuff that we do in our discussions is to, like we are balancing between being that academic, right? This guy over here, who just wants to, this is the academic look at things. It's not great. I gotta get that out of there. It's gonna bug me. And then the guy who's just down here, just checking boxes and not like there's got to be some balance between these things, right? Yeah, yeah. So this is what we're gonna talk about next week. So some of you guys that are coming to Linux course, you're spoiling it for yourself a little bit. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's not really spoiling. It's still good. We got some links and stuff that we need to go look at. We're going to be putting together the Prolog assignment, and then we're going to have a final security compliance project where you're actually going to harden those things. And I think that'll be good. All right, so this is this is digging deeper. And we'll dig deeper, and we'll look into some of the stuff. We're going to have some reflection questions. What questions do you still have about this week? How are you going to use what you've learned in your current role? We are also, let me look over here. All right, I've got more links to add. So as we talk about so I hope that the things I've said today have not made you think that I think that the managerial or operational type of controls are not good, because like a managerial or operational directive control or corrective control. So like an operational corrective control could be you have in place a procedure by which you fix a web server that's down. A web server that's down is a security vulnerability, or is a security incident. And you say, Scott, how do you define that? Well, once something has any downtime, that goes against availability. In the CIA triad, availability is one of the things. So, right? Where I'm going with that is, check this out. So there are the SANS information security policy sheets. These will help you to write them if you don't have them in your organization yet. Maybe you don't have an acceptable use policy, right? And I've shown you guys this before, and I know that this is probably visceral for some people, but I still think it's useful to tell you guys, is just think about this for a second. If you don't make somebody get on your laptop at work with an acceptable use policy that says you can't be watching porn at work, right? If you don't have that in here, are they breaking any rules if they just sit there? You know, they got like a glass wall behind them. Everybody's walking by just looking at them watching porn. It's distasteful, sure, but is that against the rules of the company if you never made it against the rules of the company? Look, I mean, like, it goes back to this question. People are like, well, I mean, you should expect everybody to behave a certain way. Well, you should probably, but I mean, you can't, right? So my point in saying that is acceptable use policies. These have been tried and tested all over planet Earth, right? But you have to at least have one, because I'm telling you, if you fire somebody for something like that, and I'm not saying, you know, it's wrong to fire them. I'm just going to tell you, if you don't have an acceptable use policy that said they couldn't do it, be prepared to have to deal with that in court. Like, I'm just telling you, your organization's probably going to be dealing with that in court, because, you know, people be like, well, I didn't know. And you're like, really? And before you say, oh, tort law, people aren't really that frivolous. I remember when I was a kid, they used to have, before I was a kid, they used to have the person open the on the commercials. They used to open the Pillsbury Doughboy roll, and the little Pillsbury Doughboy would jump out. Do any of you guys remember that? Do you know that they had to stop doing that because somebody sued them? The woman actually thought a Pillsbury Doughboy was going to jump out, and she was going to punch its little tummy, and it was going to go, like on those fucking commercials. There was a human dumb enough to think that that was going to happen. And, I mean, look, if you've spent any amount of time, like, on social media, you probably know that it hasn't gotten any better in the last 50 years. Because that was like a long time ago. But the Pillsbury Doughboy has not jumped out in any of your lifetimes. Even before I was a kid. I'm 43 now, so even before me, he has not jumped out of a single one of those on a commercial because they got sued for that. What do you guys think about that? That's stupid, right? So anyways, yeah, just don't think that. We used to joke around about it, where if you make something idiot-proof, they'll make a better idiot. And this is going to happen here, right? So anyways, acceptable use policies, all of these different things. Then there's another one. So these are policies. That's very high level. But then there's also the cheat sheets. So SANS.org has the cheat sheets, which are your procedures, right? So let's go just to SANS.org. Here's their ultimate list of cheat sheets. And these are more what turns into the procedures. So I'm going to link these on this because I think that these are valuable. I'm always showing these to you guys when we're here working on stuff. So, all right. So anyways, those are all going to be part of the. I always release this. I'm going to start. Actually, last time we did this course, I started releasing these as PDFs because everybody can open a PDF, right? All of you have at least Chrome or something on your machine that you can open a PDF. I don't do it as Word, obviously, because not everybody has Word. And, hold on, I got to change the song. What the fuck is this? I don't know what that was. All right. Bottleneck. You said on the 23rd, or on the 22nd, there are 3 separate... No, so there are... No, hold on. On the 23rd, there will be the Linux Systems Administrator course for the people that want to do that. There will be the Linux Security Engineering course. These are 2 completely separate things. I'm working on this right now as I'm building this all up. And then there will also be the writer's room, but that's just the guys all meeting up, and they're writing out this course as a book. So we already did the Linux sysadmin course last year and kind of leading into this year. And it was 16 weeks long, and they are now turning that into a book. And that book is free. That book is on, it's right here. Anybody needs it. Here's the book. They're still building it. It gets built out of GitHub. They're running that as a big GitHub project, and you have to go in there. And if you want to be a contributor on it, they show you how to be a contributor right here. This is all extra stuff if you want to get involved. But that's what that group is. That's what that meeting is. They show you how to contribute, how branches work, all that kind of stuff. And then they're going to have a page for people that are contributors. And, if you want to get your name on there, go start working with those guys there. All right. So yeah, Mox, these courses are all free. Yeah, that one right there is starting up again on the 22nd in the Discord. Yeah, they're all free. All you got to do is go hop on Discord. Yep. We'll do discussions and we will do other stuff like that. But yeah, hopping in here on Saturdays, I'm not going to take attendance, and it's free. Yeah. What would show that people did the course is at the end, you turn everything you did in like a packet. I mean, it will be like hundreds of pages of work, and you'll be like, oh, wow, I can't believe I did all this stuff over the last 16 weeks. Like, the guys, I could show you. I'm going to probably talk to the people that finished it last year if they want to come out and, well, they finished earlier this year, but I'm going to ask them if they want to come back and show you guys some of the projects early on that they did. Because some of them did some very advanced, very kind of long-running projects in their labs and in their home labs and all this different type of stuff. So, all right. Yeah, so all this stuff will get released. I gotta put the digging deeper section together. But yeah, it'll all get released. And you guys will notice we do, the hands-on Linux and stuff, right? There's that kind of stuff. But a lot of this stuff is also, how we interact with the business, how we think like engineers, how we do the other side of this stuff, right? Because, I mean, the Linux, in that course for sure, in the security engineering course, I'm not going to expect to have to tell you what's going on with, if I just tell you guys, hey, go use SS-NTULP to see what's happening in your system, I expect you guys to be able to, identify these things here to see how your system's listening. And I expect that because we did it in the other course, and I expect people that are doing the security side of it to be running. Now, that's not to say anybody can't come. I'm just saying that you may have to ask about some of this stuff in the study groups and that kind of stuff, because I want to show respect for everybody's time. I'll tell you guys a story. When I was in college, I got out of the Army, and I had 49 credits from Pikes Peak Community College. I was 2 classes away from finishing my associates there. And then I came down here to Phoenix, and I went to DeVry, and they were like, we'll take 14 of those credits. So I already had my CCNA. And one of the classes that they didn't take, that it was just silly. It was just going to a private college type thing. One of the classes they didn't take, they took my 3-4 credit of Cisco, but not my 1-2 credit. So I had to go sit in this basic, that was 1-2. Anyways, whatever. They made me sit in this basic ass Cisco course. And I remember it was 8 weeks of just this basic Cisco course. I could have taught this course, guys, right? And I remember the professor every week. We were physically in class back then, guys. I remember every week these 2 women in class, they raised their hand and they would ask, what's that for subnetting? And by the end of this class, after 8 weeks, by the way, every single day, he would humor them, and he would spend the first 30 to 45 minutes of this class doing subnetting. I absolutely hated it. And the reason was because these people refused, these 2 women, by the way, they graduated with me, which I thought was appalling, and they have never done anything in tech since. In fact, they sued the school for not learning anything. And they're actually the ones that taught me a very important lesson, that if you don't want to learn something, you will not learn it. It does not matter if you're in class. But anyways, they refused to go learn it and spend time with it and understand it. I already knew it, so I didn't even have to fucking be there for that first half of that class. But I remember he was humoring them all the way to the end, and they still never learned anything. Anyways, where I'm going with that is, I learned that, for me, I will always try to learn something in a class. Even if I don't think the person's going to teach me something, even if I don't think there's anything there. If I was just looking at this, I would go read about it or figure it out. And I decided, I was going to make my college valuable, even if I had to I ended up taking a whole bunch of those stupid classes that I had already done. I already knew that stuff, right? But because I hadn't finished my associates, they didn't just transfer in my associates. They took it credit by credit. And again, I think they just, kind of threw a dart at a board and picked which classes they were in. It was stupid. But... So, what did I do to get back at DeVry? I became their college professor for the last 10 years. It's DeVry, not the Fry. But anyways, yeah, I've been a college professor with them for a while. I've been a college professor for 16 years total, but almost 10 with DeVry now, so that's kind of funny. Anyway, so yeah, so that's a thing there. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, the course is free. I'm not going to charge anything for it. This course is again not just technical stuff, man. Anybody can just sit down and do technical stuff, but this is more like kind of tying it back into the business and getting you guys, ready to report up to a security team or a government information system security officer, or I don't know, just being able to prepare a report that shows that you've secured a set of systems, right? Which will be, I think, valuable to those of you that want to go that route. For some of you, and this is 100% true, everybody thinks security is cool. I can't talk to a single one of the new guys, like new college students of mine, this and this and this, that don't tell me that they think security is the coolest thing, right? Everybody wants to tell their friends they do security, and everybody wants to whatever. But I'm going to tell you right now, some of you guys were in the Discord a couple weeks ago where I was literally going down through 110. There were 110 MariaDB things, and I was checking each and every one of them against a set of systems. Every single one. All 110. I sat there literally, some of you guys that were in there, probably 4 or 5 hours. Just tedium. Absolute tedium. Reading this, making sure it's showing the plugins, making sure everything was working. It's absolute, I don't want to call it a nightmare. I'm just going to tell you, like, some people can't do it or don't want to do it. But everybody thinks it's cool until they actually go and do it, right? So if you come and do the security course and you get a couple of days into it and then you go, man, this really sucks. Well, it's better than trying to be a security guy and finding out you hate it, right? That'd be terrible. Go spend a whole bunch of time trying to get into it and everybody acts like you're going to be like some red team elite hacker, but really, like, that's not what most people do. 99.5% of people are not doing red team. They're defending the systems. And this is the start of it on the security side, like the Linux side of things. So, yeah, Heather, it can be boring. It can be. Now there's redeeming parts to it. It's fun. There's certain things like hanging out with everybody was cool the other night when we were working on stuff. But was I using mental energy and actually sitting there and having to focus and do things so I didn't make mistakes? Yeah. And is that tedium? Yeah. It's like a slow puzzle. I don't like slow puzzles. I kind of want them to be fast. I want to figure them out quick and be done with them. Whereas like security is like a slow plod through and testing every single fence post to make sure that the fence is going to hold, and touching every single door and every single window to make sure they're actually locked. And then oh no, not only are they locked, but also is the system working for them to send back alerts in case somebody rattles on them. There's so many things that security does. Yeah, there's so many things, and again, it helps to understand what the control is. Is it a detective control? Is it going to help you later? Is it going to actually prevent something now? Is it going to deter something? But if it deters something, is it actually deterring something because there's some managerial power over the person, or is the deterrent going to be ignored because the person is actually outside of the organization? Again, a banner like this doesn't stop anybody, right? Doesn't stop anybody. So there you go. All right. So that's what we're going to be at. That's what we're going to be doing. Let me keep working on some of this stuff. Let's see. Then we got the lab. I got to start putting the lab together. And so there's a bunch of warm-up things here. But my warm-up things are going to be based on the STIG controls. So let me put this over here. I know that's bright, guys. I know it's a flashbang. But have you guys ever seen the dark mode for this? The dark mode for this is worse. So terrible. I wouldn't even want to do the dark mode of this. It's so terrible. All right, let's go over here. Let's go look at some of the filters. Let's look at some of the things that we need to maybe look at on the system. So my exercises section is always just like a warm-up of like everything else that we're going to do. That's there. Anyways, all right, Sindley said, I believe when it comes to security, I'd just love to stay in system security, deepen kernel up memory safe and embedded security. For example, I worked in time, MMU, and DRAM safety and vPro. I just love those areas. Yeah, Sinbleed, you're probably one of the more like technical, like deep kernel people that kind of show up and hang out. Yeah, there's some stuff there. By the way, I think hold on, let me see if I have it right here. Speaking of that, I think it's way up here. See if I can just cat the file real quick. What I have in temp. I think it's some file. Yeah. So Sindley, this is one of the things when I do exceptions for like HPC exceptions, this is like an example of things that I try to get exceptions for from these original STIGs over here, right? And one of them, when you were mentioning kernel stuff, these are 2 kernel settings that I never turn on my cluster in my compute nodes. Page poison and slub debug. Because these 2 can affect performance of, we use OpenMPI, and if you have MPI running over your we use typically RDMA for the network, so that's bypassing kernel anyways. But if your system is talking to the other systems and they're all doing these big parallel jobs, these two kernel settings can cause problems. Page poison and slub debug. They can cause performance issues, meaning slowing down different systems for odd reasons and such. So I leave those 2 off. And I get an exception from my security team Y, and then I do it. Some of them too, I turn off these. AID and Tripwire. AID is kind of the more modern one. Tripwire doesn't really get updated anymore. But the problem with AID is if you're using a system like one of my systems here. Hold on. What's going on here, system? Yeah, here. So we go here, and Rocky 1 is a TempFS file system. When he reboots, he's going to come up clean all over again. There's not going to be any memory of the old system. Well, AID, right here, AID is a tool for auditing that builds a database of what's changed, right? It keeps track of what's changed between reboots and does very similar stuff to Tripwire. It builds out a hash map of all the important config files in the system, and you can define what's important and where important things are. But here's the thing. If we're always booting to a clean system with a stateless node every time, this can't build a database because the database would instantiate every time, and it would never be remembering the old one. So, yeah, so like there's a lot of these that I don't use internal to the system. Internal to a cluster. Outside of the cluster, I do have to turn some of these things on. But some of these things like SE Linux is huge, but not inside a cluster. A lot of times we turn it off. Slub is for memory page, I think, and page allocation is better than default slub. Yeah, so like those are the kind of things that like because in high performance compute, a lot of times so one of the cool things about one of the cool things about high performance compute, and I was doing this on Thursday with a new customer, is we basically just go in and drag race these servers. We have tools that will spin them up high. There's a tool, if any of you care, it's called LinPack. Right? LinPack is a software used to benchmark. This is a very common one right here. LinPack Extreme whatever, and then you need it actually be tied to the architecture of your chip, and whether you're an Intel or AMD, it behaves differently, right? But you can go download this. Any of you guys can download this and run this, right? But we call them high-performance LinPacks, HPLs, right? And we will run them against a server to just drag race that server down the track as fast as it can. And if you're wondering, it builds a matrix here of a number of equations and problems to solve, and it's always a linear expansion, right? So SYCL, I haven't used SYCL, but I can tell you we use LinPack a lot for government stuff, right? So anyways, you can go look at those if you guys want. LinPack's a pretty common type of thing. And where was I going with that? Yeah, we just keep all this stuff out of the way, so it just goes as fast as it can. And then sometimes we'll lock it down and we'll compare the difference. Yeah, we use OpenMPI, and then we also sometimes use Intel MPI. It depends. Yeah, SynBleed. We're working on a high performance compute system later this year. I thought we were already going to be started on it, but I think Dell and Nvidia might be a little behind. But my company, we're building the. We are tasked with typically securing and building a cluster according to like a base standard. That's kind of what we specialize in, and we're going to build this one out that's going to be using these newer chips that they have, and the kernel and the GPUs are going to be sharing the same L cache memory on the same board. They're going to be touching the same system. So one of the things, if you guys have used GPUs over the years, GPU to there's always a bottleneck for GPUs to access more memory. There's always been that, right? So this is going to remove a lot of that. These chips, they're called, they're not Grace Hopper. There's a name for them. I forget what they are. But we're going to be building a supercomputer out of them for a couple of these big ones that are the guys that are actually doing the architecture of the chip and releasing them. We're going to build probably the first supercomputer out of them. And it's expected to debut at number 1 on the top 500, which will be wild. I've never worked on anything over 38. 38's the highest I've been on top 500, right? So here's, if you guys have never seen top 500, it's just a place where you can go and see what the fastest supercomputers in the world are. And by the way that they determine this, so here's the last release list. And yeah, Cray is El Capitan. He's on top from HPE Cray. Look at that number of cores, 11 million. The one that was king in the early 2020s when I went back to HPC was this guy. He's still number 6 in the world 3.5 years later, 4, or actually 5 years later now almost. Right? Anyway, so you can go look at that stuff. Yeah, SynBleed, we actually do that now, yeah. Some of that stuff. We have a whole bunch of mappings that we do when we get into any of these systems for their architectures, for sure. And most of you guys know, as far as systems go, I specialize in the automation of the builds and building these things securely with, so I'm mainly an automation guy and a security guy. We have other guys on my team that specialize in the actual speed racer side of it, where they race these systems up as fast as they can go. But most of those guys need to wait until I tap them on the back and say the servers are built and they're ready, right? And when I do that, they can say, okay, Scott, you need to rebuild this whole cluster, and it needs to come back up, and everything needs to be good, but I need this one thing changed. And I'm like, all right, I'll have it for you in 10 minutes. And that's what I do, right? And you say, well, is it really that possible? Yeah, with tools like Werewolf and XCat is an older way that we used to do it. Yeah, X-Cat. Yep. That's not even difficult nowadays, right? I also do security of the networking side of it too, but I don't talk about that much because I'm not a network engineer anymore, but I still do dabble. Yeah, it makes sense. SynBleed, yeah. Yeah, so this newer architecture will hopefully make some of these things happen faster because it won't be dependent on the system bus, which, the system bus is hundreds of times slower than direct memory access. So, yeah. All right, where was I at? We're doing security stuff right now. Okay, we're gonna close this because this is good. We've done that. That I was just showing that earlier. Let's get back to. I gotta start putting the presentation together a little bit. I didn't need to clean this up. So we'll do a review of the syllabus. We'll have the week's discussion. We've done the week's discussions now. So I always pull this over. That's the lab. That's this. Okay. Let's go pull the discussions over. And the discussions, I always just show the like the high level one, I don't always do one post and one response for the next meeting. That is true. So that is how our discussions go. You gotta do one post and one response before next Saturday's meeting. Okay. And then the first one will be here. What is security? That's going to be kind of the goal of our whole talk. Like, oh, what is security? Boom. And then our second question will be find a STIGR compliance requirement. Huh. It's funny. All right. Worksheets. Boom. All right. This one will be start. We'll look at what that is here in a second because I gotta go. I still gotta write the lab for this one, so that'll be a little bit of work there too. Lots of work, guys. Lots of work go into these. I think I told you guys I'm pretty sure I made a whole bunch more gray hairs on the side of my head from this last. I need to take my little penguin down there and give him a whole bunch of little like gray hairs or something, or gray feathers on his head. But all right, let's move this down a little bit because that looks like shit. And then there we go. That'll be fine. And then overview is going to be what are we doing here? So overview will be overview is always what are we talking? So overview will be all the things that we're talking about from our notes. So here's our notes. Oh, sorry, I got these other notes that I drew up. This is other notes. So we'll review. So we'll talk about what is security. We'll talk about and then we'll talk about types of controls. And we'll probably talk about some of that other stuff in there as well. So that'll be types of controls. Common compliance standards, types of controls. Maybe we'll say using our tools, because I do want people to understand the use of the tools and where you get the tools from, and like everybody could have access to these tools and they could be in here working on these things if they needed to be. Using our tools will be, God damn it. There we go. All right, using our tools will be downloading open. Let's say downloading, scanning, remediating, and reporting. Because all of those things are important to the process, right? So as we kind of go through this, we'll hit each of those. Downloading, scanning. Let's say in here we could also review. So just kind of reviewing, because reviewing will be what we do as we go and look at some of these individual STIGs. So basically, I got to get everybody in the STIG viewers with the downloaded components before we can review, and then we can scan, remediate, and report, right? And these tools, we will be using them the whole course, even while we're doing other things, to continue finishing out the security. So, damn it! Did I just hold on? I gotta go fix that name. It's gonna bug me. All right, there we go. Well, Linux security engineering done. No, it's not done yet. I got a whole bunch more to do with this one, but announcements. Fix that. Okay. I'll have to write all that up as I go. Blackwell chips, I guess. I don't know what that is. Also, I probably need to go update the dates on the other course as well. But all right. All right. I think that's funny. Hey, Killa, how's it going? We're just cleaning stuff up and working through the course. Is this one done? This is not quite done because I got to get the digging deeper part on there, and I need to add some more thoughts to this as I kind of go. I'll start working on more of the STIG stuff, and then yeah, that's where we're at. Yeah, I'm yawning. Almost 2 hours in too. Can't believe that. All right. Killa, you said what is the website that does AI drawings? Oh, it's Killer Coda, or it's Excalidraw rather. Yeah. So if you look at Excalidraw, right, and then you had some list of things that you wanted to use. An example I always use is this. This is an example that actually worked well for me. You come over to like Werewolf, right? And Werewolf talks about overlays. Maybe you go to like Werewolf configuration. Oh, they moved their whole thing. Oh man, you would think that they would at least leave. Oh wow. All right, well screw it. It's because they've got this newer version out now. But okay. They like blew their whole page away. All right, so let's say we wanted to go to like overlays. And we want to learn overlays. Let's see how good they have this now. This is better than it was. But let's see if they had their original write-up of what an overlay is. Right? Let's just take all of this, right? And then say, okay, I want to turn that into a drawing. So Excalidraw does have this little text to diagram. Let's dump that whole thing in there. Let's see what it does. But you can only do 10 of these a day. That's the one downside. So now that thing turned it into Werewolf node registry, and then it just wrote up what that kind of looks like, and then I could take that if I liked it, and I could use that as my drawing, right? And then if I say, well, I don't necessarily like that, but it's a good start, then I could kind of go from there, right? Maintains, includes. So I now have, there's werewolf, there's overlays, there's provision node images, there's templates, you know. And it got all this just from this right here. Right? So I don't know. Look up, I don't know, something that you want to learn. Yeah, I think you could do that. Let's say, I'm trying to think of something that's like a described process for baking. Let's see if, because people always use like a like baking, let's say, right? And then maybe what are 7 stages of baking? So, right? I don't know. You would go find maybe something like this. That's a different process. And then you would go see if it would draw it out. That's my point. This thing will try to draw out pretty much anything you can dump on it. Does it do it perfect? No, but it at least gives you something to work with. So yeah, I think that's what you were wondering, Killa. Yeah. And some of these have been pretty good. I've used this for things that ended up working pretty good for me. Let's say, let's go look at their like node images. Yeah, they use this VNF, and then here's their CH root structure. This is a lot better than their old documentation, I think. It explains things a lot better, shows you how to build images, how to exit and get things to work, how to force it to exit, right? That kind of stuff. Let's try this real quick. Let's see what happens if we do this. What's this gonna do? Again, you only get 10 of them a day, but it's pretty good. Yeah, I have 9 requests left today. I'm not using them for anything, so I'll just generate it and see what happens, you know. Werewolf installation. So let's see if this works for us. We would have the werewolf installation. The initial configuration was here. YAML formatted configuration file. We would configure the werewolf server, configure external services. External services we would rerun with configure all, and then we would apply it with that. I mean, that's the start of a visual, you know, understanding of it. Is it everything? Well, I mean, there's, you know, it's everything from their description anyways. I might maybe fix these because I think these kind of look garbagey. Maybe I move them over here. Right? But this is your drawing. Do whatever you want with it, right? Anyways, I don't know. You know, that's probably good. Probably good for some people to play with. I mean, it's free, and I wouldn't advise putting your own stuff in it, but like if you have stuff internal to your company, but for your own, like messing around and doing lab stuff, I would definitely think that that's secure enough, right? In fact, some companies now have policies. Policies are coming out through like user guides and you know, that say, hey, you are not allowed to use AI generated stuff. Like I have a policy. I'm not that I would never do this in the first place, but I can't dump government information in some random site. Well, fucking, of course not. Who would do that? But people would do that, so they have to have a policy against it. And like I was saying earlier, if you don't make something against the policy, how can you say it's wrong? It's stupid. I mean, I wouldn't just be putting random stuff in a site. All this stuff, I don't care if somebody has, right? We're giving this away for free anyways. But, yeah, anyways, that was just something. You guys could build these things if you wanted. Another cool thing about this, I don't know if you guys ever played with this, but you can go and you can export this. I can make this a PNG right now, right? I can save, actually I can export just a section of this to PNG if I needed to. Yeah. So I can actually grab just the things I want, like this, and then say export to a PNG, right? I can say go ahead and leave it in dark mode because I like that more. I can grab it as a PNG, and I can say, nah, go ahead and throw this right in our downloads here, right? Just throw it right here. And then I can just open up my downloads. Boom. And there's that drawing. I can go throw that into some configuration, or if I was training people on Werewolf or whatever. So there you go. Boom. All right. So there's all that. What's the question here? Yeah, so for people that are getting here late, let me pull this up for you guys. If you go to Discord, you go to the top left, or if you're on the phone, it's the top right. The Linux sysadmin course starts on the 22nd, and the security engineering course also starts on the 22nd. So they're going to be different times in the same area. This one will probably run a little under an hour. The Linux sysadmin course doesn't require much. I will just walk through the material, show you guys all the things, and then answer questions, and then we'll be done. And then about an hour, maybe an hour and some change after it finishes, we'll start the Linux course for security engineering for people that want to do that. They are not the same course. They are not the same level of expectations from me. You can sit in both of them. I do not care. I told you guys I'm not going to be taking attendance. Your attendance is going to be at the end if you did all the work. And what are the benefits of it? We give a cool little cert like this. There's a cool little cert that comes out of this. Where do we have this? I think I have it under streaming. Hold on. Yeah, I have it in here. There's a cool little... Oops. Images. Prologue. There's a pretty cool little cert that pops up like this. Although it will be in blue, it won't be this. Whoops, it won't be this color. It'll be blue, and then it'll have your stuff. And then this little verify. If you use the code, it will take you to our site, and it will validate in against you. So for me, mine. If I don't have one, but for the other guys that did it. It'll actually scan. You'll be able to scan this, and it'll come in here and it'll tell you that person did the course. So these are always going to be up, right? And if you want to ask how that mechanism works or see that kind of stuff, we've done that a few times on stream, but it's Treasure that built all of the, this is a Go container, and then it's running internal on our system. And then it's shared through CloudFront with AWS, right? So there's that kind of stuff. Yeah, Twisted Seed. Everything for the first course is already done. It's actually already recorded. So anybody that missed, like, let's say you can't make it to the first course, everything is going to be, it's already up on YouTube, but you could go here, like, to the week one. If you miss next week, here is my talk from September on it, right? You guys want to hear me talk? Apparently I have to watch an ad to see my own stuff. But anyways, and then it walks you through the labs and all the different stuff that we're doing, because I recorded all unit 1 through 16, right? And then, you go through and you do all your stuff or whatever. That will be going. One of the cool things about it, if you do have time to do it with everybody, is you'll be working with everybody else, doing the discussions, hearing how other people think about this kind of stuff, and I think it makes the learning much more effective. The site, like the prolug.org, it's just prolug.org. That's it. Yeah. There's also a Discord for most of you guys. Discord has all the info in there still. We were back grabbing something out of there, but yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on in Discord. Sometimes people just hang out down here in the study channels. Sometimes I'm just down there hanging out. I probably would have been down there today, except I'm going down to Tucson, which is going to be a long drive. So, yeah. Anyway, so that was we were doing different stuff. OpenSCAP has some pretty cool stuff. Some pretty good little resources and policies and all that good stuff. All right. Almost all the worksheets are live on the ebook. Have like 3 more to go. Labs are taking a bit longer. Oh, Colchis, yeah, that was part of. I think you were one of the guys. So the guys were working on this yesterday, and getting all the worksheets up in there. There's a significant amount of formatting went into this, guys, to get all these things in there. So, yeah, they meet weekly and they're putting everything up in there. All the different stuff, all the definitions. Again, man, like I tell you guys, like the way we learn is we understand a thing, we name a thing, we understand what it is, and then we can start to look at it and understand it. I really like, there was this MIT professor I was reading, or I was watching his stuff yesterday. He passed away, but he was really good at talking about everything's a story. And I'm like, I like that. I like that way, because I always talk about picking something up and holding it in your hand and looking at it and kind of grokking it or understanding it. And he talked about everything as a story, and I kind of liked that as well. So, how are we supposed to follow the security course? So, Alex, if you want to do the security course, you got to go into the Discord, and we've got a meeting set. So, we'll be doing it as a meeting. And then in the meeting, I'll be going through stuff like this, the security engineering course that I'm doing here. I've never released, so even for the Linux sysadmin course, I haven't released all of these, but I did send them all over to Treasure, so he has them. But I'll be going through that. We'll be looking at the different pieces that we've been building. So like the worksheet, and the worksheet is almost done for Unit 1, and it'll be, what are you doing? What are the post-discussion questions, and what are the terminology and things that you need to study and understand? Here's a bunch of links to things that we're going to be using or doing, and then useful tools that you're going to be using. And then there's going to be a lab. There's always a lab. I got to write the digging deeper section, and then my reflection questions are almost always around what do you still have questions about, and what are you going to do with this? Because those are two things. One looks back, what do I not understand yet, and hopefully we can align you and get you on track if you're off. And then here is shooting an azimuth out to the future. How do I think I'm going to use this? Where do I see, and this is really a qualitative, like a value statement. What do I value this as? Where do I think I'm going to use this, or what's the value of this? If the only thing you get out of this, is, well, there's different ways that security happens, and not all of them are valid because I can defend why they don't need to be there, that's a valid thing to take away from the course. The other things you might take away from the course are, well, hey, security is this balance of, authority, will, and force, right? Because it's all of these things, and then we start to kind of dig into all that. Alex, I haven't decided if we're doing the it depends how organized I get this. If I get it organized enough that I'll record it, then I'll be recording it on the Sunday mornings. But no, if you miss that, then I guess you would just be doing a lot of reading, getting in the study groups. The guys always put together study groups once we get started, and then the study groups will pop up here, and then typically people will talk about what we did and what we learned and all that kind of stuff. So we will eventually record that course. I just haven't decided if I'm going to do it the first time, because I don't like to record things if they're garbage. Like if they're going to the official, like, hey, this is the course, I want them to be a little more set up. And with our Linux sysadmin course, I went through it with everybody the day before. I know all the material because I've been Linux admin and engineer for forever, and I just did the course the next day and recorded it live, and I felt like that was fine. If the security engineering isn't where I want it to be, where we're just kind of still putting the course together, I might not record it, just because I don't want to waste everybody's time. Oh, I'll waste everybody's time if we're all sitting there working like back and forth on it. I just don't want to do that, and record that forever on YouTube, Yeah, Pilgrim. Yeah, this guy, look, I'm going to show you this. Somebody posted this yesterday after our meeting. I think this got posted in off topic. Hold on. No. I hope this didn't go on off topic because this was one of the best things that's ever been posted to our YouTube or our Discord. Where was it? I think they put it in Killer Coda Labs. No, where did they put it? Presentations. I don't think most people can post in presentations. Prologue projects. No. Maybe it was academic. No, I don't think it was academic either. Guys, I can't ever remember where everything is. Let me find it. I thought it was Camby that did it too, but I can't remember who did it. That's a good one too, but no. Oh, they did it in Home Lab. I'm pretty sure it was Home Lab. Maybe not. Such as gambling have extensive slang. Yeah, it's actually funny. If you guys ever heard, there was a... if anybody here is a fan of like MMA, there was a time when Joe Rogan once said, "Shoot your wad" or "blow your wad," and that is a very, very graphic term for some people, but to a gambler, that just means you wasted your wad of money, right? And he said it just like I just did there, and everybody was like, they were like taken aback that he said that on a thing, and he's like, "What are you guys talking about? That's not." He's like, "That's not sexual. That's a money term, right?" And the people couldn't. It was kind of funny. They were like, "What did you just say?" And he's like, "I didn't say anything bad. What are you guys talking about?" Dude, where the hell is this? Hold on. Now I want to find it because this was really a good thing. I don't remember. Can't remember where it went. Pretty sure it's not any of those ones. Oh, it was off-topic resources. That's exactly where. This guy right here, this was such a good talk. I watched the whole thing yesterday. This guy, he gave a talk on how to speak. So Pilgrim, if you want a really good, man, that guy, and he passed away, but I actually just went right into his next video. I was like, gosh, this is good. And the funny thing is this talk from this guy, Patrick Winston, and he's since passed away, but he's a AIML guy. So he's sitting here talking about how to talk and how to speak. And look, this was huge. 20 million views. This is a really good talk. Really, really well done about how you present to people. And I took a few of his things right to heart immediately, but really good talk on it. And then you go in and you're like, oh, wait, no, this guy's really good at everything. You go read, this is where he starts to get into AI stuff. And you start to break into, like, this is where he gets into stories and stuff and the introduction and scope of AI. Really, really good stuff. Anyway, so watch his stuff, especially like if you're concerned with words and that kind of stuff. So this was, yeah, it was really good. Yeah, and then this is a thing I actually mentioned because he talks about asking questions of the audience and then waiting 7 seconds for them to respond. I have been fantastically bad in my college career of allowing my students. I tell people just raise your hand and interrupt me, but most people won't do that. And then like he points out that like you just kind of have to give them an opportunity. So I do need to do that better. I'm going to take that into account. Although on stream I can't do that, right? Like I can't really ask you guys questions. Most people couldn't type fast enough to get in that in 7 seconds, right? So, anyways, I don't know. Back to this. Where were we at? We were looking at the stuff that we were going to do, and I've got to get the worksheets almost done, and then the lab, I've got to start doing the lab stuff. So the lab stuff is going to be involving... yeah, so this is, you know, going and looking at the packages that are on the system. Oops. And then probably verifying logging. And just my warm-up exercises are just things to get you thinking about the topic, but in the system sense. So, yeah, these are all package ones up here. Then we might look at some partition stuff. Yeah, so there might be some good things there. like on a system, you would do something like mount grep-i for no exec, and then maybe grep-i for no no suid. So no dev, no exec. Those are big. And then no like suid, right? And I might say on a system, execute those. So this would be something that we do in like a warm-up, right? Hold on, where's my warm-up? Would be those three things. Get rid of the bold, they don't need to be bolded. Then I might say, how many approximately how many of your server mounted file systems have each of these values, right? And then again, that's a okay. So approximately how, and your answers are going to be different on a system than mine, right? They're going to be whatever they are, and you can count them, right? You can always cheat and count. I don't want to count them. There's 19 of them. And then maybe you, yeah, things are C grouped up in this system, so that's good. What other things? Oh, right, so we might grab these real quick. These are things that are going to matter in this here in a little bit, or they're going to matter in what we're doing, right? So boom, we just drop those. And also, like, do you know what these sysctl? So in the warm-ups, I don't ask questions like, what are these things typically? Because what I want people to do is just run the commands, right? The warm-ups are just running the commands. But then you might go like, oh, that's kind of interesting. What the heck are all these? And then now you go spin off and go spend some time reading about what does it have to IPv4 neighbor multicast resolicit, or do I ignore multicast? You know, and what do these values mean? What does it mean that I never do a TCP retry, or maybe I have 15 as my limit? So in here, I may have my sliding windows set in here by default, but maybe I trust the connection and it's real close, so I may be tuning out TCP IP in my kernel right here. That's what our sysctl values can do, right? One that I may never do, this is actually one that comes up as a STIG right here. It's do you ever do forwarding? So, do you ever forward anything or no? And do you forward between interfaces or no? And that's going to determine all kinds of things about the system, but whether or not, because if you change these, by the way, when we talk about locking stuff down, somebody can do whatever they want in IP tables or the more modern NF tables, but and by the way, we can see, are the NF tables loaded, right? And actually, I would do this. LSMod grep-ie. Let's just do. We'll just do table. We'll just do tables. Screw it. We don't really need any of that anymore. Let's just try tables. And then I would ask you then. Yeah, it's NF underscore. That's what it is. Very quickly, without knowing anything else about the system, couldn't you tell me that it's using NF tables, not IP tables, even though you didn't know anything else about the system? So let's go grab those real quick. And maybe grab this. And then maybe we go grab that other one real quick. We don't really need the quotes around it for now, but we did need it if we were doing it the other way, but that's fine. Script-i tables. And then typically, you know, we'll say what type of tables and forwarding. What type of tables exist, and do you? What types of tables exist? Does IPv4 forward on interfaces? Right? So these are just kind of things like as you're just warming up on a system, right? Again, we're just working with, hold on, I gotta change this music. Too much weird chanting. Just like the track, go to the next one. Trying to find some music that we can listen to. Ambient? Chill? I used to like chill. I'll give that one a shot. All right. Yeah. This is Unit 1 Pro Lab. Oh, I need to rename this one too, don't I? All right, hold on. Shit. I named it, huh. I could have sworn I changed this. Standards and compliance. Wait a minute. Hold on. Now that's bugging me because I swear I just changed that somewhere, and I hope I didn't change it over here. I did. God damn it. This is the old name. This is the old one. I shouldn't have been changing anything over here. This one should be, God damn it. Where did the shit? Oh, guys, this is why I hate doing stuff like this. Because I'm fantastically bad at it. What the hell was this thing's name? This is my problem. This is my curse. I gotta go find what the fuck I named this thing. Super annoying. Lab Essentials. Super annoying. Alright. Let's get out of that course and not go fucking around with the old course again. God, I was working on the wrong damn lab. Alright. Name of this one is going to be here. Unit 1 Prolog Standard and Compliance. Alright. Here it is. There. Reopen it. There we go. Alright. That was a hassle. Hate doing stuff like that. Alright. This lab is designed to have the engineer practice securing a Linux server or service against a set of configuration standards. These standards are sometimes called benchmarks, checklists, or guidelines. We'll be using Stig Viewer 2.18 to complete this lab. So we'll go download Stig Viewer 2.18. I'm using 2.17 because that's the version that I just happen to have. And 2.18 looks just like this. And then you'll be coming in here and doing each of these different things. So I have we'll start with this let's say, oh man, we can start with DB service configuration. So we'll install MariaDB. What's happened? Wonderful. Super weird. Let's do this. Cut this out of here. MariaDB. So install MariaDB. Install MariaDB, and then we go from there. All right. What else do I have? Yeah, this is going to be me fumbling around building out this lab for a little bit. Root or sudo command access. Recording materials, you're also going to Stig Viewer 2.18. Where's that DISA Stig? Document library. There you go. Also, that Stig Viewer comes up in, there's a Windows, a Linux, and a Mac version of that. So I'm pretty sure any one of those three should hit most all of you. So I think you guys should be good on that. I'll get this thing out of the way over here. All right. I don't think I'm missing any chat. Okay, good. All right. All right. I'll keep working on that stuff later. Keep working on that. We'll stick all those. And then just keep kind of working on all that stuff. I have my, yeah, these are the things that I'm going to be moving into both the discussion and then also part of the lab. You guys will be doing that. And then I have Stig MariaDB as far as you can with a checklist. So that'll be good practice for people. I am going to have to show at the beginning of that how to enable one of the components, because the Stig doesn't show how to do it right, where you turn on the server audit, because you got to put there's a plugin that you got to enable first, and then you can install some stuff. So I got to show how to do that so it doesn't break your MariaDB, and that'll be part of that lab. Excuse me. And we'll kind of go from there. All right. What else do we have? Oh, I got to rebuild the jump box. I'm not going to do that today, but suffice it to say, I got to pull some configs off it and make sure I have some just base things ready. And then I'm going to build out a new version of P01 Jump 01. We'll probably call him P01 Jump 02 and then just keep Jump 01 so he can be kind of sitting around. It's Jump 01, not Jumbo. All right, and we'll do that and get that all set up. All right. Other than that, what do I have going on here? We got a whole bunch more lab stuff to put in for the book for the professional security course will be coming out as well. It'll look a lot like this one. It's just not, might not be there just yet. So we might be working on getting there still for a little bit. But don't worry, I'll still get the material to you guys, and we'll work on getting that all published and stuff. And then we'll have something for you guys to work on. And that's the goal, right? Just have something to work on, have something to chew through and pick up and understand how we do some of this stuff. Yep. That's what we're doing. Go check on Ranger. How's Ranger doing? He's laying on his bed. He's looking around. He's alive. Aw. He's a pretty good dog, man. He had so much excitement this last week from the family being in town and the grandbaby. And then the grandbaby mostly ignores him, but they kind of hang out sometimes. And then he had a bunch of friends over the other day, so not the grandbaby, Ranger. Actually, the kid did. So we had a bunch of people over, was that Friday night? And Ranger's always excited with that. So he's wandering around. He can barely walk because he's so old. But he'll walk around to try to get food from everybody. That's for damn sure. So. Gaming Paw Prints. Thanks for the follow. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. I don't know what my screen's doing over there, but I think somewhere, sometime it got set like every 5 follows. It just like dumps a new thing. Like I care about, not that I don't care about followers. I'm just saying like if the system's just gonna keep doing like it's an excitement and a birthday bash every 5 people that follow, I think that's a bit much. So just know that I didn't set that. I just don't care enough to go find where it's set to turn it off. But it's funny, I did turn it off the other day, I thought, but apparently I didn't hit save or something. So yeah, there's Ranger. If you guys don't know, that's Ranger over there. He is my guard dog. He is a hardworking 13-and-a-half-year-old. He is, I believe the wife called him a German Shepherdor, because he's part German Shepherd and part Labrador, like Golden Lab. So he's very golden himself, although he's turning white as he gets older. He's getting more and more gray. But yeah, I think that's what's on his little birth thing. His little birth certificate thing is he's like a German Shepherdor. But But I don't know that much about dogs. I just know that he's a pretty good one. So, looking for a minute, but I saw a dog that had a fall. Yeah, yeah. Well, you're welcome to hang out. We do mostly Linux around here, but sometimes we creep on my dog downstairs. Also, that bed right there was designed when I bought it. I bought it from this thing called like Funny Fuzzy or something. It popped up on Facebook or something, so I bought it. That bed is such a disappointment. It's a double XL. So I thought double XL will be like this huge bed. It's not even as big as his other bed that I had bought at PetSmart a while back for like half the price. And it's definitely not padded enough on the bottom for him. So now Ranger just has 3 beds, and that bed is like a little sofa that sits on top of his other bed. And, well, he apparently likes it, so he sits on it. Costco dog bed. I have that one that's underneath is a really nice bed. In fact, I've told people this, like, if I go camping, like, I have a cot and I have some of these other things that you might use for camping, but I honestly just want to go buy one of those $80 orthopedic dog beds that Ranger has there, because, well, it's a little too short for me, but man, it's like one of the softest beds and orthopedic things I've ever laid on. And I'm like, I could just put 2 of these on the ground and it would be better than most of the camping shit that I've bought. So, yeah, I wonder if the Costco dog beds would be big enough, because so the way it used to go is me and my son would buy Ranger a new bed, and then we would just keep putting more and more beds down there. And the wife was like, he can only have 2 beds. And we're like, why? He's got all this space. So we were going to build like a throne of beds for Ranger. Ranger was just going to have like a list of beds going all the way up. Just a whole bunch of beds going all the way up to this throne. And then the wife told us, okay, he can only have 2 beds. And then, so we start buying him blankets. And then she's like, no, he can only have 2 blankets. And I'm like, why? Like, let the dog have fun. But anyways, we were just mostly goading her and giving her a hard time. But love tech, learning basics of Linux, want to get my Network Plus and A Plus certs. Hopefully I can learn some information. Yeah, gaming paw prints. Well, Linux is great. I never had a Network Plus because I had my CCNA, but Net Plus is great. A Plus is also valuable for getting into tech. I tell people any road that'll get you into tech, I think, is good. For people here that are newer or don't know me, I've been doing Linux as an engineer for about 22 years, and then I've been a college professor for 16, so I've been around doing this. And my goal, the whole reason we have this little professional Linux users group, is to get you guys into doing this stuff professionally, if you guys are interested, right? And look, we're all hobbyists, we all do this stuff for fun, but some of you want to also, do this stuff professionally, and that's a lot of what we kind of move into. Yeah. Stephen Vetz, the last huge thing we bought from Costco, the wife, God, it was 2 summers ago. She calls me in July and goes, hey, I need you to come to Costco with your truck. And I'm like, all right, I mean, what'd you buy? And she's like, remember how you said I could get a 12-foot Christmas tree? And I'm like, yeah, I did say you could get that. So now we have this 12-foot Christmas tree that we've put up the last 2 Christmases, and it is massive. It comes in 2 boxes, and each box is hard to carry. Like each box is a 2-person lift. So yeah, the Costco definitely goes big on a lot of stuff. So, but yeah, Ranger's way more alert than he normally is this time of morning. Normally he's taking his 2nd or 3rd mid-morning nap right now, since it's almost 10 a.m. But, all right. Well, let me see if it's like family wants me to. They're gonna make me start moving here soon because I got to get down to Tucson here in a little bit, which I think I told you guys about 2.5-hour drive away. We do family dinners every month, and different people host. And this host is going to be with my wife's brother, so my brother-in-law, down in Tucson. So we're going down there. Let me just leave you guys with this. We've got a Discord. You guys can always hang out in there. That's free. There's some really good content in there. Again, when I say good content, it doesn't all have to be about me. It's whatever different things people are working on. We got guys building a little bot. What is this little slingshot thing? One of our guys is putting together. So if you guys want to get involved with like a open source project that's doing some fun stuff with visuals inside of Linux, he's doing that. And one of the things about Salty Catfish is he is a professional coder, right? He's a software engineer. He's been a team lead in that space as long as I've known him. So I've known him about 5 years. He's been doing that even longer. But he's going to make it an open source project. He's going to do all these things like he was running a real software team. And he's going to be kind of going through everything. So you guys have, there's a lot of stuff to do. You don't just have to do Linux. Although I'm a big fan of Linux. I think that Linux can be everything you need in the systems world. But a lot of times we do corollary stuff and other stuff off to the side. So, all right. Jump box setup coming up next. Yeah, XShun, I do need to get around to that. I'll probably draw it out and plan what I'm going to do with it. But I got a lot of the course done that I wanted to today, so we'll be ready for Unit 1 next week. So that'll be good. Hopefully you guys get that stuff all done. We had an operational meeting last weekend where I kind of went through some of the system stuff and kind of what it looks like to have an operational meeting in a system. So that was kind of something there that we had done. So here's what we'll do. On the Twitch side, we've got enough people. We'll go raid somebody. On the YouTube side, I just appreciate you guys coming by. And we will probably... I will probably be back on tomorrow night working on more of this stuff. So I will see you guys then. Let's see who's on over on the Twitch side. Wallaber's on. Co-Carnage is on. Yeah. We don't need to raid anybody today. We're good. All right. I will see some of you guys later, and thanks for stopping by. Take care.